Good morning, class. Today we're going to talk about Lesson 4-2, Organizing Data. Our objectives today are we can organize data in tables and stem and leaf plots. Alright, class, there is one thing we need to know before we start our first example, and that's what a table is. A table is just one way we can organize data so we can understand the meaning and recognize any relationships that are happening in the data. Alright, now let's look at our first example, organizing data in tables. We're going to use the given data in this situation to make a table. Greg has received job offers as a mechanic at 3 airlines. The first has a salary range of $20,000 to $34,000, benefits worth $12,000, and 10 days of vacation. The second has 15 days vacation, benefits worth $10,500, and a salary range of $18,000 to $50,000. The third has benefits worth $11,400, a salary range of $14,000 to $40,000, and 12 days vacation. We need to start by constructing a 4x4 table. Now we're going to need to fill in the boxes for the salary range for each job. So for job 1, the salary range was $20,000 to $34,000. For job 2, the salary range was $18,000 to $50,000. And for job 3, the salary range was $14,000 to $40,000. Now let's look at the benefits from each job. So for job 1, we had benefits worth $12,000. For job 2, we had benefits worth $10,500. And job 3, we had benefits worth $11,400. Now we also need to fill in the vacation days for each job. Job 1 has 10 vacation days, job 2 has 15 vacation days, and job 3 has 12 vacation days. And since the directions only ask us to make a table, we're now done. Here comes our first vocabulary alert. We have stem and leaf plots that we're going to be talking about, which are just a way to display a list of data, such where the values are grouped so that all but the last digit is the same in each category. Alright, here we've got a stem and leaf plot. On the left is our stem, and on the right are our leaves. We need to list these data values in the stem and leaf plot. Alright, so to write this stem and leaf plot as a list of data, we need to start with the smallest number, which is going to start in the top row, where our stem is 0 and our leaves are 2 and 5. So, these are written as 0, 2, and 0, 5, or simply just 2 and 5. Now we look at the second row, where our stem is 1 and our leaves are 3, 3, and 7, which means in our list we have 13, 13, 17, and 18. Next we'll look at the third row, where our stem is 2 and our leaves are 0, 2, and 6, which means in our list we will be adding 20, 22, and 26. Finally, we look at the last row, where we've got 3, 1, and 7. 3 is our stem, 1 and 7 are our leaves. So we will be adding 31 and 37 to our list. Now, you might be asking yourself, Mr. Howard, why did we have to write 13 down twice in our stem and leaf plot? So this entire list is our answer. Now we're going to take this table of heights of tallest trees in the United States in meters, and we are going to make a stem and leaf plot from it. We want to start by finding the smallest value in this table. So, to me, that looks like the willow tree is the smallest value at the height of 35. Now, while we're at it, let's find any other trees that have a height in the range of 30s. So it looks like the elm tree also has a height in the 30s, which is 38. If we are going to make a stem and leaf plot for this, we are going to draw ourselves a line, and the last digit on both of those, what comes before it? Well, a 3. So we're going to start by writing a 3. Now, between 35 and 38, which one is smaller? Well, 35. So we take the last digit of 35 and write that in our leaf. And then we've got the 38, which follows the 35, so we will write an 8 after the 5. Now let's see if we can find any trees whose heights are in the 40s. So we've got the ash tree with a height of 47, the beech tree with a height of 40, the black maple, which also has a height of 40, the cherry tree, which has a height of 42, the pecan tree, which has a height of 44, the sycamore tree, which has a height of 40, and the western pine, which has a height of 48. So, the numbers that come before the last digit on all of those is a 4. We're going to put the 4 in place of our stem. Now, which numbers have the smallest value? I see 3 40s, which means we're going to write 0 down 3 times because it happens 3 times. Then I see a 42, so after those 3 zeros, we're going to write a 2. I don't see a 43, but I see a 44, so I'm going to write a 4. I also see a 47 and a 48, and that wraps up the 40s. Now we're going to look at the 50s. I see that the hickory tree has a height of 58, and that the red maple tree has a height of 55. So, in our stem, we're going to write a 5, and the one that's smaller of 55 and 58, 55, is going to go first in our leaf, the 5 followed by the 8. Now let's look at the 60s. I see that the cedar tree has a height of 67, the oak tree has a height of 61, and the spruce tree has a height of 63. So we are going to put a 6 in our stem, followed by a 1, 3, and a 7. Now let's look at the 70s. So, I see that the grand fir tree has a height of 77, and the hemlock tree has a height of 74. We're going to put a 7. In fact, I've run out of room in mine, so I want you to continue, but I'm going to put the rest of my stem and leaf plot over in this little box. I'm going to make a 7 for my stem, and my leaves will be 4 for 74, and a 7 for 77. Now let's look and see what kind of trees we've got in that 80 range. In fact, I think I only see one tree, the sequoia tree, which has a height of 84. So I'm going to put an 8 in my stem and a 4 in my leaf. Now, I believe we have at least one tree left that we haven't looked at yet. The Douglas fir, which has a height of 91. So we're going to put a 9 in our stem and a 1 in our leaf. In fact, in this picture that just popped up, you can see the stem and leaf plot we just created as a very nice stem and leaf plot. You see that there's a key in the bottom corner. That's not necessary, but it is very nice for people when they are reading this. Here comes our second vocabulary alert for the day, a back-to-back stem and leaf plot. So we use these to compare two sets of data, and this time the stems are in the center, and we read the left side in reverse. So here we have a table of data that we're going to make a back-to-back stem and leaf plot for on Super Bowl scores from 1990 to the year 2000. We've got winning scores and losing scores. So we're going to start by making a stem and leaf plot where on the left we have the losing scores, in the middle is our stem, and on the right are our winning scores. So here's the framework for our back-to-back stem and leaf plot. We want to find the smallest score possible in our set of data, which looks to be a losing score of 10. Now let's find all the scores that are between 10 and 19. So we've got 10, we've got 19, 17, 13, 17, 19, and 16. So we're going to first start by putting a 1 in our stem. Now, when we read this in reverse, we take the smallest score for our losing team, and we write that closest to the 1. So this is read as 10. Then we take the next smallest score, 13, and we keep going until we get to the biggest score, repeating any numbers that happen to count twice. So we've got a 16, we have two 17s, and two 19s. Now, let's look at any scores that are between 20 and 29. So, we have a 20, which was a winning score in 1991, a 24, a 26, a 27, a 21, a 24, and a 23. So we're going to write a 2 in our stem, and now we're going to look at what was our smallest number that started with the 2. That was 20, which was a winning score, so we'll put a 0 in our winning column. Then our next smallest was 21, which was a losing score, so we'll write that in our losing column. Then we had 23, which was a winning score. We had two 24s, which were both losing scores, so we'll add those to our losing column. Then we also had a 26, which was a losing score, and a 27, which was a winning score. Now, we've wrapped up the scores that were in the 20s. Let's look at the 30s. So let's find all the numbers that are between 30 and 39. So we've got a score of 37, a score of 30, 35, 31, and 34. So we're going to start by writing 3 in our stem. The smallest score in that 30 range was 30. Then we had a 31, a 34, a 35, and a 37. Now, we've taken care of the 30s. Let's see if we had any scores that were in the 40s. In fact, I see only one, a winning score in 1995, that was 49. So we'll write a 4 in our stem and a 9 in our leaf. Let's see how many scores might have happened in the 50s. In fact, I see 2, a 55 in 1990 and a 52 in 1993, which were both winning scores. So we'll write a 5 in our stem, and then a 2 for 52, and a 5 for 55. And that is our back-to-back stem and leaf plot. Now, for the rest of your homework tonight, I would like you to look at the Your Turn problems at the end of your notes and finish them for class for tomorrow. Have a good evening.